Today, Rinpoche began Kamalashila's stages of meditation, showing us how important it is to have the complete set of causes in order to achieve omniscience. One has to have this in order to become enlightened. Without the root of great compassion, bodhicitta, and the 6 perfections, you can't become a Buddha. Okay. Tu Chenmo Rinpoche. Then kale gangi sina nga sarpa. Ngama nga.
Gore baba wa de gore baba de. Ane kitchen shiwatsu loma kamala shila.
Lesso.
Kamala shila de bodes marba. Kamala shila. Ane kitchen shiwatsu pel pe ware. Then kitchen shiwatsu ane shogul jay kambo o tenege joba yungores. Then de yungba yina. Ngai go Kamala Shila den shujus.
The Shewatsu, the
Kishin Shiwatsu that Kishin
Jai Lama Dasi Danson?
That Kishin Shiwatsu Chuje Mabenosun, Chenrezig Juba, Jan Juba, Shana de Juba Sun Pegabo. That the Chuje Tasun and Jabayang Juba Imbere, Tasun Duzen. And Jamayang Juba, Tasun Duzen Tuso, and what the Nalenta and the kitchen she was to the sugar. Then the kitchen she was to the unit, Sai Zola Kanji.
Less so.
Sai Zola Kanala, and Nada Tritili, Dudu Habali, and Daju Levenli, and the Kaza Watan Jig.
The Jai Lama, Gompa.
On the Hashan no
Hashan.
Hashan no less.
Hashan Norling.
No less.
Norling. Nanda.
Nanda Tsutrinling.
Tsutrinling.
What's a good something about it.
That's good. The Nanda Tsutrinling Kechen Shewatsu. Then a oh, the guy is Nipa.
Kechen Shewatsu. That then. Dudu Habalin, Lobe Manjune.
Du de Ngapa. Pamasan Baba.
Habalin.
Then
Daju Levenli.
Dajor, the Kajor.
Daju Levenli, that Sanskrit, the Pali Ketu, but the Sukalo, Peke to Juyati,
Tu Chena.
Kanju Tenju to this.
Then a Hashan Norling.
Hashan Norling, Jai Bonja,
okay. Then okay, so today we're going to begin, is this all okay? Yeah. The teaching by Kamala Shila on the stages of meditation. It's a text that was written in response to questions and clarifications the Tibetans needed at the time. So the history behind this is that at this period in time in history, we say that the kings of Tibet were emanations of various deities, of Chenrezig, of Vajrapani, of Manjushri. And at this various certain time, the king Treatise Detsen was the king overseeing the land. And he was an emanation of Manjushri. He was considered an emanation of Manjushri. So Treatise Detsen invited Chandrashita to not Kamalashila yet, Chandrashita to Tibet to help form Tsayik Sulakang, Tsayik Monastery. In this monastery that he came to create was then comprised of 4 separate colleges, if you will, within the one monastery. So Chandrashita came, and this monastery, Tsayik, was established, and then there were 4 colleges. The first one was Nandrak Tsuchinling, and this was Chandrashita's college. This was his students and so forth. This was the emphasis on his teachings and practices. And as a translator's note, Chandrashita is from Nalanda Monastery. I don't know if I said that, but the king who invited Chandrashita invited him from India. So the king of Tibet invited Chandrashita from India, and he was at that time at the monastery that was called Nalanda. And it's a very famous monastery. So going back to where I was in the story, so there are 4 different monasteries within Sangye. So Nandrat Suchin Ling, which was Chandarashita's, Drajar Lupon Ling, and this was the monastery where they translated things. They translated all of the texts from the Pali and Sanskrit language, which were the original languages that they were written in, into Tibetan language. So that was their responsibility. So there was this monastery, or college, if you will, that was devoted just to translation. And then there was the Du Denga, which was basically Padmasambhava's practitioners. It was a tantric monastery, and they were just emphasized the teachings of Padmasambhava. And then the 4th was called Hashan Norling. And Hashan was a Chinese abbot. So these were all Chinese students and followers, some others as well, but we say that it was a Chinese monastery and that he was a Chinese abbot. And his name was Master Hashan. And he was holding some views that were inappropriate, mutually exclusive with what the believed Dharma was at that time. But he was very, very intelligent. So it was becoming a problem because it was starting to spread these wrong ideas. So Chandarashita invited his student, Kamalashila, who was a master debater and who was keen in all of the different philosophies and their presentation, rebuttals and so forth to other schools. So Chandarashita said to Kamalashila to come to then help with the situation with Hashan. Dene? Ngay de Kamalashila lesson. Dene?
Kamalashila what Kamalashita Sangye Lupenda Hashan the
Zubadans, okay.
Hashan that Jeba Jego Maragun Josan and Digres, Jeba Jia Gadi Marwa. Gondaga Josan Dirmatuchi, Jeba Jego Mares.
Sem Tomba.
That Gondan Jan, that Jeba Majin Gonja or Jamba and Digres something about it.
No think, okay.
So
Hashan was holding this view that the analysis of things wasn't necessary, that conceptual thought was actually a negative, and that the ideal was to only meditate, and this was the only thing you needed to do, and the goal was to not think. So just meditating and not thinking. And Kamalashila came to Tsangye Monastery, and then they engaged in the great debate to figure out whether this was correct or not. And Kamalashila negated all of these incorrect views that Hashan had, where he believed that the goal of practice was just emptying of the mind, was just not thinking. That was quickly negated by Kamalashila's logic and reasoning. Disa.
So
Kamalashila and Chandarashita were both very, very kind to Tibet.
That is what the Zamil Kadiship Marabeta, Sanskrit, the Pali Tulio, but the Burgi Tulju, what they didn't do with us. And
now we can see these days where the whole world has seen the kindness. There's two ways to translate this. You could translate this as seen the kindness, or there's another way to look at it where you're looking at the participant and their gratitude, being grateful for this kindness. So it's somewhere in the middle of this. Their kindness and the gratitude for their kindness is what word we're kind of trying to look for here. When I use this word for their kindness, it's inferring this gratitude. Kadrin Chenpo, great kindness, infers that there's gratitude for it. So maybe that is just obvious to everyone, but when I say great kindness. The reason we say the whole world has experienced this great kindness is because here we have the pronouncements of Lord Buddha right behind us and the authentic Indian commentaries right behind us, and they were translated into Tibetan during this time, so from Pali and Sanskrit. So we wouldn't have the opportunity to look at these texts in the Tibetan language, which then we translate them into English, if it hadn't been for their kindness to translate them from Pali and Sanskrit into Tibetan, which, as a translator's note, is very complicated. Learning Sanskrit versus learning Tibetan is night and day. Sanskrit is much more difficult to learn than Tibetan. So it's very kind for someone like me who would like to be able to learn these texts or others, because I don't have to be as smart. I can learn Tibetan instead of having to learn Sanskrit. So they're very kind. Nge de segudu the kejora kuna. Nge the tanda the sandri ke dan pali ke. Sheda kali kapudu. Shinken the nyun yun. Dene the puke. Dets le laudu. Le lar. Den nga dets gupa. Then den sun sang nga the conjure dan tanger lo tugudu gangin sina the puke yure. Sandra ke kuna then ngatsu hako gomara gangin sina sandra ke sheda kali kapudu. Nitong rules. Chi nitong yure. 2,000 rules in Sanskrit.
Sandra ke na bali ke tu yaba naji do de ju sar da kitchen shawa jodan.
So because of Kamala Shila, because of Chenrezig's work, they took these texts which were in Pali and which were in Sanskrit, which is almost like code, and then were able to bring them into the Tibetan language.
So
that when we look at the stages of meditation, there's the beginning, the middle, and the end, or the I think they say beginning, middle, and end. And Jipa Gare. Umanawa? There's a Umanawa is the fourth. I'm not sure. Uma sounds like middle, something of the middle way. I can find it. Or maybe it's probably here on the first page if I had read into it further. Diksa.
Umanawa jitane kishin shiwatu chimi tokona yu dubagawan deba puni yusar puni. Kishin shiwatu chimi tokona yu dubas nangden pacha yuere. Tegin deba dele Kamala Shila puni yusar poduni chubu.
Kamala Shila becha ni?
Ni. Chimi tokona yu dubas.
Namgyal becha?
Chimi tokona yu dubas kishin shiwatu ruwa. Nangden kuri nangden. Odi deba dele Kamala Shila chubu kamatri yusare.
Yimba dra ming yure. Okay, the yure. Uma nawa gombi rimba. Oh, Onawa, the jipa. The illumination of the middle way is the name of that fourth book. So the beginning, middle, and end, and then the illumination of the middle way. And then dekuna ni dupi ganje. And then there are two books in the commentary on the difficult points of Chenrezig's Compendium of Suchness. The Bechas, the Yere. So today we're looking at the middle stages of meditation, or this. It's just called the stages of meditation, middle stages.
Gone Baba Jaga Gedos Banatan Bergeto Gombi Rimba Jambe Juni Jubala Shasalos Golin Jambe on the Shasandua Jambe on the Shasava de Carta Tangosana Sanji Catala Mobi Dun Dudu Son Yoris. The Mobi Dune imitates Jambe on the Shasas Jambe on the Shasava Yitan Pachande Mobi Dune Hibate.
Oh, Ale. Okay. Gongel mepechi. Jayang upi dun the dun sum Jayang shera becha. Shera the Abhidharma.
Mobi dun kong but then golden Jamayang the Chavaju. Dankan Jabutoke what the dinner from Matrice say you do. Mobi dinner in the Jamayang the Chavaju.
That's so.
Do the dinner in the Tajition Jusemba. Then you dinner in the Tajisemba. What the Jabi Kayimare? Then do the Sanjay Dan Shanchu Semba. The Doa Tajisemba. Tajisemba Lachuba.
The Doa. Okay. Touche. Okay, so here now we're going to turn to the actual text. So if anyone has the stages of the meditation, we turn to the prologue where it says, in the Indian language, Bhavakana Krama, and in the Tibetan language, Gombi Rimba. Homage to the youthful Manjushri. I shall briefly explain the stages. Anyway, that's where it ends. Homage to the youthful Manjushri. Rinpoche ended there. So here, we see in the very beginning, we have the Sanskrit name. So any Tibetan text always writes first in Sanskrit. In Indian language, it is called. So that means in Sanskrit, the Bhavana Krama. Rinpoche, Jakage do Sansan Pali Sansan Sandrike? Or Sandrike Kuna? The Yomari, the Jakage do, the Bhagavata Prajaparamita Randea, Jakage do, the Sandrike Dang Pali? Ni. Okay, so when it says in Indian language, it can mean from Sanskrit or from Pali. And then in Tibetan, it says it's called the Gombi Rimba. And then it says homage to youthful Manjushri. When there is a prostration made at the beginning to Manjushri, you know that it falls into a particular basket of study. So when the way that you can tell what basket, so there are three baskets of knowledge, the Vinaya basket, the Abhidharma basket, and the Sutra basket. So we say that the teachings fall into these three baskets. If it is a teaching that falls under the Abhidharma basket, which would be a wisdom teaching, we would say homage or prostration. I make a prostration to youthful Manjushri. So if it is of the sutra basket or something on concentration, then it would say homage to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Or I make a prostration to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Then you would know that it would fall under the sutra basket teachings, generally on concentration, just as an aside. And then if it says homage to or I make prostration to omniscience, then you know it's about the Vinaya, you know it's about ethics, virtue, and so forth. So this is a way to know at the beginning of a text what basket the particular text falls under. And in this case, this particular text falls under the Abhidharma basket. Okay, Digsung Rinpoche.
Gombe Dudujin Songs Doroshedo. The La Taji Java Nina, Taji Java Shindo, Taji Java Ni, Shindo, No Toban Deba.
Okay.
Toba Dan Dembe, the Toba Shibi, Junatan, Jenala Obazuma Shaws. Tanji Shamba and Sanji Gubon, Tanji Shamba, Sanji Gubon to Deba Yobaina, Deba Yobatsu, Tanji Shamba Gubon to be Jugar, Jenkares, and the Zaji of Tangures, Judan Jen. Penangato, Shinduna, Shind, Mango tree in the Jina, and tell Judan Jen, Nigudua. Jugaris and the Mago tree seed Marva. Mago tree seed, Mago tree Juje. The Mago tree Shabala Satan Chotan Luke Change Woodua, Jan Woodua. Then Najin, Sanji go to Balaya, Sanji go to be Judan, Jan Gores.
Okay, so then we move on in the text. Homage to youthful Manjushri. And again, this word homage means I prostrate. I make a prostration. Homage to youthful Manjushri. So just as another note, when we make a prostration, the word for that is here. So that to Manjushri. But we usually just translate it as homage because it sounds it just sounds better and it makes more sense. But it's literally meaning I bow down to, I make prostration to youthful Manjushri. I shall briefly explain the stages of meditation for those who follow the system of Mahayana Sutras. So here Kamalashila is saying that he's going to summarize the points here in these stages of meditation. This will just be a mere summary of these points. The intelligent who wish to actualize omniscience quickly, the intelligent who wish to actualize omniscience extremely quickly should make deliberate effort to fulfill its causes and conditions. So here, those who wish to achieve Buddhahood, because a Buddha is the only one who achieves omniscience. So those who wish to achieve Buddhahood quickly have to figure out what the causes and conditions are for the arisal of such a Buddhahood. So here, the point is that because this omniscience is a result, there are necessarily causes. All results have causes. And so if we wish to have that result, we have to find out what its cause is. Just like a mango tree, for instance, has causes and conditions. A mango tree has as its cause the seeds that sprout and then turn into the tree. And then as conditions, we see that there is the earth, the water that is necessary, the sunlight, and so forth. So these are all conditions. So with the causes and conditions present, then a mango tree can arise. Likewise, if we wish to have Buddhahood, we have to see what the causes and conditions are for that arisal. Just like the mango tree has those causes and conditions, omniscience has causes and conditions. So this is the point made here. Jason.
Jume bale juamano tanje sheba swanje de jume len juo mares jume bale juo moron des jume bale jeba ina jume kario arjuna tanje leja tanje sheba ni do juwa tawa ju sharos jume bale jeba ina chamalo tanje sheba chane gres ne tanje sheba jugo mena Tanji Jang, Yu Tanji Do, Tanji Sheba Nyi Do, Jungwa, Tao Juru, Ju Mebal Jeba Ina Wade, Yu Tanji Do Wade, Tanji Wade, Ju Mebal, and Jeba Ina, Tanji, Yu Tanji Do, and Tanji Sheba Yishidu, Jungwa Tanagres.
Gari Ina, Tamche Chemba Cha.
Tanji Sheba Tubala Jumagu Bezer.
Lessa.
Jumagu Tamala Tanji Sheba.
Okay. Okay. So now we move on to, if you're following it in the English, you have to go down to the next chapter altogether, chapter 1. And as a note to the text, just if you're following it in this, they use different language. They use the, hold on 1 second. They use, just so we can use the same terminology, the initial stages of meditation, the intermediate stages of meditation, and the last. I said what, beginning, middle, and end. So this is being called the intermediate stages of meditation. I said middle stages of meditation. So if you hear intermediate stages of meditation or you hear middle, these are the same thing that it's being referred to. Because I might start using, for ease of purpose, another translation that uses, it's very, very similar. It won't be distracting, but I know that it uses those different words. So I just wanted to make everyone aware. They use middling. This uses intermediate. Okay, now we move on to, again, pull up a full chapter, because we are saying we're using this text, if you're following along. It is not possible for omniscience to be produced without causes, because if it were, everything could always be omniscient. If things were produced without reliance on something else, they could exist without constraint. There would be no reason why everything could not be omniscient. So the point being made here is, if omniscience wasn't caused by something specific, then anything could be omniscient. There wouldn't be any specificity. We could put that attribute on anything. It wouldn't even necessarily need to be sentient. So that is the consequence of believing they could come into being without cause, is that, well, then anything could be omniscient. So if we're saying that omniscience requires no causes, then anything could be, it says, without constraint, meaning there wouldn't be an obstacle to even a book or an obstacle to anything being omniscient if there weren't causes for it to occur. If it could just be anywhere, anytime, then it wouldn't have specificity. So it says, if things were produced without reliance on something else, this is meaning if they weren't caused by something, they could exist without constraint. There would be no reason why everything could not be omniscient. Dene?
That tuba menane, judin rebel, tuba menane, rebel jul tuba menane, tuba men, taji shambi jete, jul tuba menane, kantuyan, tuba mujuten, taji shamba kantuyan, tuba rong de, jusen karisana kagina, taji shamba nido, manjuros, and taji shamba nido, manjuros.
Yomari.
타지 저만이도 레그모도 왔어.
Lesso.
대수도 네 뜨고 그래서 마드나 어디 차는 그래서 저부터 줄 뜨고 타지 샤바 줄 뜨고 그래서 마드나 가게나 타지 샤바니도 먼저로 오사. 마드나 어디 마드바이나 되는 타지 강가 타지 샤바 타는 그래서 타월래 타지 샤바니도 먼저 해서 대해서 저부터 줄 뜨고 그래서 사지도 줄 뜨고 그래서 먼저로 대유나 라라 자라나가지 녀도 세베 뭐부터 하지는 줄라 뜨봐 코나 이노사 뭐부터 하지는 대유나 라라 자라나가지 녀도 세베 뭐부터 하지는 줄 뜨봐 코나 이노스 뭐부터 뒤지 강가로 줄 뜨봐 코나레스 줄마 뜨봐 요마레스 뒤나 줄 뜨봐 차그레스 뜨봐 코나 이노 타지 잡아니 또야 라라 자라나 가지 주대 뒤 타지도 많이 내 타지도야 많이 네 타지 장 마인베 디실 되네 주다 찐라 되방에서스 타지 제바니도 라라스 타지 제바 사지르서 그러 타지 제바니도 라라 안에 잘라나 가지 주대 뒤 타지도야 마이 내 타지도야 마이 뒤 네, 가도도 싫어. 로던도 타지도 많이. 네, 타지도 많이 자가도 자나도. 네, 타지를 요 말해서 타지도 많이. 타지장 많이 베스 타지장 네, 많이 베티 싫어. 되네, 주다 찐라. 되방에서스. 대수자 타지장 주다 찐 되버스.
Ladene.
Okay.
Nga triwa yure. The ngadro dan gare. The tamche chemba. The kasakala yomare. Let me find the Tibetan. Tamche chemba ni du majuro. Gangi. Tamche jang. Tamche chemba. Let's go, sorry. Dupa mebar juna.
Dupa mebar juna nesi. Jebudu jul dupa mebar jebudu yungwa yina. Anu kanti ya tuba marung de. Kanki jusen karesana tanji jang, tanji cheba nido tawa le, tanji cheba rega muduwas. Kanki na tanji jang, tanji cheba nido manjuros. Dupa mebar Junane, tuba meban junane, and sama taji shaba tawale, and sama taji shaba zagamuduas. Taji shaba manjuros. Teyuna, jusen shena.
Do tamche, ne tamche, do then ngadru, shidru.
Do ngadru shidru.
De ngadru gare.
Haru morning.
Okay. De kuna. Nge chiwa kuna. Morning night. Okay. Digsong. Nge kejo tu.
Yeah.
Okay. So now I had a very simple question, and that was what we're laughing about. I was just in reference to a word that he used, and so I was trying to find what line it was in reference to, so it turned into longer than it needed to be. And it was over the word for morning. Okay, so the intelligent who wish to actualize omniscience quickly should make deliberate effort to fulfill its causes and conditions. What is mind? It is not possible for omniscience to be produced without causes, because if it were, everything could always be omniscient. If things were produced without reliance on something else, they could exist without constraint. There would be no reason why everything could not be omniscient. Therefore, since all functional things arise only occasionally, they depend strictly on their causes. So everything that functions depends on its causes. So anything that arises occasionally, momentarily, impermanence, depends on causes. Omniscience, too, is rare because it does not occur at all times and in all places. So it is not something that is always happening. It doesn't occur at all times. So Rinpoche, in the morning or in the night. It doesn't always occur in all places, such as in the I think Rinpoche said, such as in the United States or the Tibetan Tibet. Ne tamche sena ne. Yeah, India, Tibet, India, I mean China, it doesn't exist. So I was correct. I don't want to make something up. It doesn't exist at all times, morning and night, in all places, in India or in China, Rinpoche, or the U.S., and in times, Rinpoche also meant like weeks and months and so forth. Morning, night, weeks, months. You don't see its occurrence. U.S., China, India, you don't see its occurrence. And everything cannot become omniscient. So we can come to that. With all those points we're making, we conclude that everything can't become omniscient. So why not? Therefore, it definitely depends on causes and conditions. So because omniscience is functioning, it doesn't occur in everything all the time. It means that it relies on causes and conditions. So there are specific things that lead to that specific result. That variety of result relies on a specific variety of cause. And that's the point. Diksung Rinpoche, Sopo
Yeah. Then Teyuna Lala Jalana Gaji Jontu Sebe Mobatanji Jula Tubu Kona Inos, Mobina Jula Tubi Chap. Tangobina Jula Tubi Chasato Shirama Dutuba Sansaba Omara Juba, Drutama Jero. Drutama Je, and then Omara Juba Majid Drebut Jula Tuba Yins, Jun Debul Tuba Mayla. The Oman Tanju Drebut Jula Tuba, Jun Debul Tuba Yins. What the nigga in love, Omatanju.
The Judan Depo Dunchik, the Chipa, the Dundagar, Gonga Mebaching, the Selpo La Tugumare. Kali Kali Laronang.
Mago de Mago Jul Duro.
Lesso.
Mago Jul Mago Adu. Omara Juba Machig, Mago de Mago Jul Tubares. Mago Jul Mago Tugumares. Omatanju. Drebut Jul Tuba Mazi, Judan Drebut Tubres.
La Dene?
Drebut Mena Jun Umarota.
The Jew, Depo La Dene, Depo Jew La Dene, Drapadu, Chipa?
Jun Drebut Tuba, Drebut Jula Tuba.
Dupa Dene, Chipa?
Umara Juba Machi, Drebut Jul Tuba.
Okay.
Jun Drebut Tuba Mains. Oma Tanju, Jun Drebut Tuba, Drebut Jul Tuba. Drebut Jul Tuba Yente, no could Drebut Jul Tuba Yente. You don't call Jul Tuber, Juman and Debu Umaro.
Less so.
What is only said?
In a Depo Mena Jew. Depo Mena?
Mena Jew Umaro. Jumena de Yuma.
Oh, less so. Okay. Yene Ranjupa de Shingamari. Ranjupa Tsampa. Ju.
Rebel Jul Tuba, Jul Rebel Tuba, my is. Oman Tanju, Rebel Jul Tuba, Jun Rebel Tuba, Nigares.
Okay, so when we look at this, omniscience too is rare because it does not occur at all times in all places, and everything cannot become omniscient. So we're saying that all functional things are caused, and there is differing points in terms of dependence or reliance. We say that requirement, you could even use the word. I'll show you what I mean. So there are 4 tenet systems. I'll use both the Sanskrit and the English. So the Vibhashika school, which is the Great Exposition, the Sautrantika school, which is the Sutra school, the Chittamantran school, which is the Mind-only school, and the Madhyamaka school, which is the Middle Way school. The Middle Way school has 2 categories. I'll give you them in English: the autonomy and the consequence. The autonomy school, then the Shedamawa Dodepa Gari Kelen. Chipa. Okay. Tanger Kuna.
Yes.
Then the Shedamawa Dodepa Sensampa Dan Ranjupa Chipa? Okay. So when we look at these tenet systems, it's only the Middle Way consequence school that feels that in order for there to be a result, there has to be a cause, and in order for there to be a cause, there has to be a result. So according to there's this interdependence according to the Middle Way consequence school, whereas the schools leading up to it don't state that the cause relies on the result. They say that the result needs the cause, but they don't say that I wish I could look this word. The Rinpoche, dupa, dene, chipa? Dupa. Okay, so I guess the word is dependence is the same. So dependence, reliance, needs. So according to the Middle Way consequence school, the result needs the cause and the cause needs the result. Whereas the Great Exposition, Sutra school, Mind-only school, and Middle Way autonomy school believe that's not the case. Just the cause is required. Is the effect is dependent on the cause and this backward relationship. And the reason that the consequence schools state this is if there is a cause, there will be a result. If you have a cause there, there's going to be a result. If there's not a result there, you don't have a cause, because cause is always result. So that's the point. Now, I'm sure there's, as translators know, a debate about a moment in there where there might be some ability to debate a moment in this process, whether so all causes depend on all results depend on causes. Do all causes depend on results? There could be a moment where that cause hasn't caused a result. It's doubtful, though. The moment a cause comes into being, it is a result. Cause and result are synonymous according to the logic primer. Cause of this and result of this are not synonymous, but cause and result are. Gongya me bachig?
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Okay. Diksung.
That Rebina Jula Tubi Chagres, Jula Tubi Chazan, Jula Tubi Chagres, Jela Tubi Chagres.
So if you have a result, you necessarily rely upon or need a cause. You need a condition. Diksung. And it needs to have all of the causes present. So if some of the causes that are necessary for the result aren't present, the result can't occur either. So it has to be the full set of causes that are needed. If you're missing any of the result, any of the cause, then the result can't occur.
Jumano Gures, Jumano Aina, Jumasana, Devichetu Mares.
So if you don't have all the necessary components or causes, then the result can't occur. It requires all of these necessary components to be present in order for its arisal.
Judan Jenta Daginane Jang, Manurji, Masan Mabana, Temba Shawus, Masan Mabatama, Jumano Adan, Jujin Sanj Gures, Sanja, the Bayina, Sanja Gumontubi, Jumano Lagures, and the Juchasan Lagures, Jumano Adan, Juchasan Mena, Jumano Aina, Chasan Mena, Sanja to Mares.
Less so. Okay, less so. Less so.
Judan Jenta Daginane Jang, Manurji, Masan Mabanola, Temba Shawus, Jumano Adan, Jumasan, Jutan, someone Dan Waters, Nalaja Waters, Temba Shawus.
Okay, so also now we move on. Anyone following, you got to go forward to 40, page 40 in Stages of Meditation. If you're in my volume, I know there's another one out. It might not be the same page numbers. Also, from among these causes and conditions, you should cultivate correct and complete causes. If you put the wrong causes into practice, even if you work hard for a long time, the desired goal cannot be achieved. As we were stating before, you have to have the full set of causes in order for the result to occur, and you have to have the correct and complete causes. There can't be anything missing. If there is, then there won't be any way for the arisal of the result. Dene?
Temba Shawus, Jun no ala Naden Shena, Jun no ala Naden Shena, Yunshin to Rinpoche Jang, Shiki Jang, Debi Debu Tubu Mares, Tubu Meadow.
That's so.
But not Rala Omajin Vaginus. Ragu Nato. Ragul Jun Oma Yamaro.
Palin Dawa Drapa.
Omag Jun Numbers.
Less so.
And to Ragul Jun Oma Yamaro. Jun Noar. Omag Juno. Ragu de Omako Noman Matema Oma Yamado. Ragul Ten Oma Yamaro. Ragu to what de Jun Noar is Omag Jo. Jun Noala ne de Shena. Shena ne, Yadin do Rinpoche Jang. Debi Omares, Raloma Tena, Oma Yamarwa. Toba Meadow, Pena Raloma Jibajinos, Ragulo, Noma Jibai Noma Yamaro.
Rinpoche, Kandre, the Pelden Dawa Drapa, the Rimo, the Ra, the Umaraso. The Loju, the Yure. Then the Ju Dan Chen, the Ken Sabodu. Kandre.
Remember to be part of my homage was.
Yeah, the Tunsa.
But then the other was the Nalental, then Nalental never given Gishiva, Nalental, and the Tabat Trimo. And that was all Oma, then Baju Ju and Kalikavi road. Then Baju Remuti, the Remuti tell Oma you know what they pay the true road.
Okay. Also, among these causes and conditions, you should cultivate correct and complete causes. If you put the wrong causes into practice, even if you work hard for a long time, the desired goal cannot be achieved. It will be like milking a cow's horn. Otherwise, the result will not be produced when all causes are not put into effect. So, because the causes and conditions aren't present, within a cow's horn to retrieve milk, you can't retrieve milk from it. So you see that the retrieving of milk, there are specific causes and conditions that are necessary to all be there in order to get the milk. Because they aren't there, you can't milk a cow's horn. I then asked Rinpoche, then how do you understand stories like Chandrakirti, who was able to, the monastery had thousands of monks and they were malnourished, and the cows were having difficulty producing enough milk, so he was able to, through magic, milk a painting. So there's this story of this magic that he created, and then he was able to give milk to the entire monastery. I said, so how does that painting doesn't have that? He says if you believe it, first of all. The magic has that. The magic has the causes and conditions to make the painting have that. So the magic is what creates those causes and conditions. So there's an answer anytime you think you're smart, by the way. So I said, what about this? You know, so that the causes and conditions all have to be present, whether they're magical ones or regular ones, in order for the result to be produced. And a normal cow's horn does not produce the result of milk if you try to milk it. Digson. Less so. Less so. Rock. Rock, yeah. Okay, so then there's this story of Chandrakirti, who had this magical ability to milk this painting. And then there's another story that war was breaking out, and Chandrakirti didn't hear about it until they were very close. And there was war breaking out near Nalanda, and they were going to invade the monastery, something to this effect. So he turned a rock into this lion beast and scared the armies away with these rock. I don't know if it was multiple lion beasts, or I mean, if I saw a rock turn into a lion beast, I would retreat, even if I had 1,000 army members, because he could then turn everything into lion beasts. But so that's the story: is that he turned the rock into a lion beast and was able to thwart the army, or something to that effect. If that's the right word. I wanted to use a good war word. I don't think I did. So these are stories of the magical abilities of Chandrakirti, who also, just as an aside, doesn't just have magic stories. He wrote volumes of incredible philosophical texts. Sopun. Sapun lepson. Leso. Leso.
Nyogola soba debu manjuaji ne sali nyogo chigro nyogo jedu ne sabela soba kanro ji masana ne debu chigmo dos changgu dos juma no ata ju changwa ku dos juma no ata ju changwa yo na ne debu yungo des sabela soba kanro ji mena nyogola soba debu manjun shirosa changwa ku des masana debu yungo ma des Manjun Shiro, Teyu na Tishir, Jebute, Debe, Judan Jen Manoa, Tadala Temba Shawos, Jebun Deba Yoba Ina, Taji Shemba Dan, and then Sata May Tentan, Debut Tuag, Deba Yoba Ina, Jebute Jumanoa Dan, Jutadal Logures, Jutala Logures.
Okay.
Teyu na Jebun Debe. Judan Jen Manoa Dan, Tadala Temba Shawos, Deba Karina, Deba Yobaina, De Jumanoa, Jutadal Logures, Jumanoa in Tadal Malona, and then Debu Yumade. Junoa in Debu Yumares, Ralo Majubandabures, Tadala Temba Shaw.
Likewise, the result will not be produced when all the causes are not put into effect. And just I'm going to read that sentence again. Rinpoche read it multiple times. It will be like milking a cow's horn. Likewise, the result will not be produced when all causes are not put into effect. For example, if the seed or any other cause is missing, then the result, a sprout and so forth, will not be produced. Therefore, those who desire a particular result should cultivate its complete and unmistaken causes and conditions. So in order for a particular result to occur, there have to be a complete set of causes and conditions that are unmistaken causes and conditions. There have to be the particular causes and conditions for the particular result to be produced. If there can't be any other cause missing in order, if you wish for the arisal to occur, like the case of a sprout. The sprout won't occur if any of the causes, such as the seed, are missing. So we need complete causes, complete conditions in order to have a result. If we don't, it's like milking a cow's horn. You aren't going to be able to get milk from it. You aren't going to be able to have the desired goal because the particular causes are missing. And they're mistaken causes, or their causes are not there, and the conditions are not there for milk to come out of that horn. Digsung Rinpoche. Becha de sheda selbudu. Sheda selbudu.
Debu Tanji Cheba Niji Judan, and Debu Tanji Cheba Sanji Judan, Jen Karis Tiba Ina, and then Memba. Databo, Milutan Dayu, the temple menu merges, and then Databo Milutan Dayu, Tanji Cheba Jundere, and the gender is in a shit humor. Namin Wanda Bores, menu merges, Wenjang and the Kanashigan, Wenjang, Junde de Niji, Ngobar, Zuba Sanjine, Judan Gentle Sanjig Sunwares, Sanjig Sunla then Shagins, Wenjang, Junde de Niji, Ngobar Zuba Sanjines, Dujanala, Jiki Sheba Tejinto, Dagi, Junde de Kaniji Shedos, Sanjig Kalatene, and then Taji Champi Jundere, gender is Shagins, Matunga Shetumaris, Namin Wanda Bres, and then Sanji Kalatene, and then what the Taji Champi Jundere, gender is Shagins, Niji Shedo. Junden de Derkazeba, what about Jujana?
Junden de Derkazeba. Okay.
I just the Kaishina, Pemba, that minute on the Kamala Mino, Taji Naching Jundere, gender is a shit humoris, many merges. On a chukanes shaking sana, Wenjang, Junden de Sonwares, Sanjig Son Latene, and Tanji Champion Jundere, gender is shaking is Wenjang, Junden de Niji, Moberduba Sanjene, Dujanala, Jackie Sheba Tejin to Dagi, Junden de Kanij Shedos, Sanjig Son Latene, Tanji Champion Jundere, gender is shaking is Niji Shedos.
So. Okay, so Sheto. So now we move on, still page 40. If you ask, what are the causes and conditions of final fruit of omniscience, I, who am like a blind man, may not be in a position to explain by myself, but I shall employ the Buddha's own words just as he spoke them to his disciples after his enlightenment. Hold on 1 second. I just want to see how far. Okay, after to his enlightenment. So here, Kamala Shila is saying, if you were to ask me what are the causes and conditions of the final fruit of omniscience, of Buddhahood, if I had to answer with my own words, I'd have a hard time. He's being humble. He's saying, I'm like a blind man who can't see, so I may not be in a position to really explain the answer to that question. So I'm going to use the Buddha's words to explain the answer to that question so that I don't make any mistake. So Kamala Shila is being humble here, comparing himself to a blind man. And as a translator's note, as we know, he's not. He's a great scholar who could perfectly explain this. But he's out of humility and out of reason to trace back to Buddha. He uses Buddha's words to prove that this is accurate. So he says, I am like a blind man who may not be in the position to explain, but I shall employ the Buddha's own words. So he's going to take the Buddha's speech from the Buddhist text itself and explain the answer to that question that way, instead of him just trying to answer it. Dene? Less so. Shana Dorje. Less so. Less so. Less so. Less so. Less so. Less There, then the deta the ne tamche chenba the kanga lo gangisina the lela.
Yeah, okay.
This sum, yeah, diksong. Okay, diksong eka. Okay, so then, so what is the cause, and what are the causes and conditions for the final fruit of omniscience? So, what is Buddha's response through Kamala Shila? He says, Vajrapani. He said. Vajrapani, Lord of Rinpoche, the Triwadan Lenja, Shana Dorje Dan Shacha Tupa, Kamala Su Miklua, Vajra Shana Dorje Miklua, Kamala Shila Miklua.
Shacha Tupi, Shana Dorje Lusumba Yima, Shana Dorje.
Then Shana Dorje Miklua.
Shana Dorje Le,
La Miklua.
Tanji Jimbi Jede, Tiji Zawal Jongres. Shaju Saint Jules Jonre, Taji Paru de Chimbas, and what the Sonkan Saji Shaja Tobaro. Canal Sombras, Shana to Jelosomba.
Okay.
What the song was, they is not the Latin,
less.
Judan Gent, Sheguyus.
Okay,
Okay.
I just got confused for a minute. So just as to who was the blind person, was it? I just got confused for a minute. So Kamala Shila is saying, I'm like the blind man, so I'm going to use the Buddha's own words. And the Buddha's own words speaking to his disciple Vajrapani. So these are the words that I'm going to use. So it's just not to confuse that Vajrapani is the one who's saying, I'm like a blind man. This is Kamala Shila saying this, and he's saying, I'm going to use a discourse the Buddha did to one of his disciples, Vajrapani, in order to explain this. So he said, Vajrapani, Lord of Secrets, the transcendental wisdom of omniscience has as its root compassion and arises from a cause, the altruistic thought, the awakening mind of bodhicitta, and the perfection of skillful means. So here we see these three things pointed out by Lord Buddha, and it's very important, Rinpoche said, to see that he states that the root of omniscience is compassion. What is that speaking of? That's not just speaking of the normal, just compassion as a note. Rinpoche said, when we look at the 7-point cause and effect for achieving bodhicitta, we see the steps are recognizing all sentient beings are our mothers, remembering their kindness, wishing to repay their kindness, love through the force of attraction, and then great compassion. That's what's being spoken of here as the root of omniscience, that great compassion, which is the result of all of those things, of love and so forth, and which is the 2 causes before bodhicitta. That great compassion is the root of omniscience and arises from a cause. So it says the root is compassion. The cause is bodhicitta, the altruistic thought, the awakening mind of bodhicitta, and the perfection of skillful means. So here this is speaking of the 6 perfections. So the perfection of skillful means is the reference to the 6 perfections. Let me just check one thing. True, Yuri. She's Taki Shanchi Semba Jile Yuma Taki Tarjim. The top Rinpoche, the dark part, the top dang sherab, the Shintu top dang sherab Nicha, the Shintu, 6 perfections. 6 the sherab top dang sherab.
Shindu Gorula Taim Achos and Majoro.
Okay, 2 chana. Okay.
Shindu no Duni Shiro Yudro.
Okay.
The Shiroro, Tomaro.
Okay.
Shiro Parushim Bombe and Kasa. Shiro Parushim Bombe Karasa John is Tosons. Shindu None, Shiro Japashin the Madu, Hamanga the Torres, Lamrim Sondo.
Lesser.
Shiro Parushim Bombe, John is Tosus. Shindu None, Shiro Pajinte, and Ishitsuro.
Lesser.
Hamanga Sono to the Sondos.
In a Kamala Shila Becha, Shintu 6 Kanga, top dang sherab Kanga. Okay. So what I was asking Rinpoche is, and then the awakening mind of bodhicitta and this perfection of skillful means. What I was asking about is the 6 perfections have wisdom in it. When usually method, skillful means is referring to method. Method is the first 5 perfections. Rinpoche said this skillful means is the means to getting to perfection. And that requires all 6 perfections. So there's one way to say the top. Okay, share up yina top mayimbi chop. Then the Shintu share up yure. Then the puik the top the yure.
Shiro Parishim won't be Joanna Tops is.
Okay, Shira borrowed the Shimbi top yure.
Shindu None Shiro Japara the Shim, but my MB Kangalo Toys or the London food water.
Red, the Taki Tarjin by the top Shira yure. Okay. Okay, Digsong. I was just asking, we were just discussing more about how this skillful means, usually when we say skillful means, it's method, but this is really referring to the skillful means to the other side of perfection, which requires all 6 perfections, the means to getting to that other side. That's all. Okay, Diksung, Tuche.
He just got us this.
Less so. Okay.
He is all as one. He just got us and the Rani doing the Tenana for somebody can do some more. Rani doing you doing Chaban doing the Tenana for somebody can do some more. Jen mean a Jen doing you doing Chaban doing the Tenana for somebody. He just is. Sijan Taji doing the Tenana. He's Chenmo. He's Chenmo. He's met the Mama.
So The way that we can look at, so here we see the root of omniscience is is compassion. So we have to know what compassion is in order to understand this. So what does this mean? Compassion. Renunciation is when we wish that when we want to definitely emerge, is when we wish to be free from suffering for ourselves. So first we wish that we could be free from suffering, understand the varying sufferings, and then want to be free from them. Compassion is when we wish that all sentient beings are free from suffering, are free from the suffering of change, the pervasive compounded suffering, the suffering of suffering. So we wish that all sentient beings are free from that suffering. So there are many different types of compassion, but the immeasurable compassion is the one we're speaking of here, where we're wishing for all sentient beings to have this state. Where did all my pages go? Okay, then my own. So if I don't think about my own suffering, if I don't think about my own three types of suffering, suffering of change, pervasive compounded suffering, suffering of suffering, then I won't be able to think of others' circumstances if I don't know what mine are. So we have to understand our own sufferings in order to help others with theirs. Dene? So we see in Shantideva's Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life where it says that if I haven't even dreamt of my own suffering, how could I think of freeing others from theirs? Something to this effect. How could I even dream, if I haven't even thought of my own suffering, how could I dream of freeing others from theirs? So we find that in one of the chapters. I could look it up, but it's so close to that, it's not necessary. So then we move on to, so it says, omniscience has its root in compassion and arises from a cause, the altruistic thought. The altruistic thought is the mind that aspires to enlightenment. They're using the word altruistic thought. There's so many ways that is translated, it can get confusing. So this is referring to bodhicitta, the mind that aspires to enlightenment. That's why that says kama, the awakening mind of bodhicitta. This is the cause. What did Rinpoche?
That touch Shanju sent you by Inaya and Shidul Malona, Sanjetu Mares, Shidul Lavures, touch of Inos.
So then the perfection of skillful means. So it's necessary to perfect those skills, if you will, the 6 perfections, to perfect those in order to become a Buddha. If you don't perfect those 6, you can't become a Buddha.
And then he Chenmo Dang, Shanju San Dang, Tao Song with the Liable Hores. He Chenmo to Shanju San Dang, Tao to Nyala Abajena, and the Sanji to Gre. This one Nyala Abmajena, and the Sanji to Mares. Tao Song de la Lover Shahos.
Therefore, if you are interested in achieving omniscience, you need to practice these 3. Compassion, the awakening mind of bodhicitta, and skillful means. So here These three, as mentioned, are necessary in order for the occurrence of Buddhahood to take place, omniscience to take place. So it was, Kamala Shila is so kind and was such a great scholar for Tibet that he came and really clarified and cleaned up the Dharma, cleaned the Buddhist teachings up when he arrived.
So
if you wish to achieve unsurpassable, true, complete enlightenment, one needs to have great compassion, bodhicitta, and the 6 perfections. Without these, it's not possible to achieve omniscience. Did you say? Less so. Daniela tawa sena shindu shakashin jumeshela yunrebu drubi sona da ishe tu sona de ishe tu la gobanju gosa hinji jona hi chamba de aba yoba yina shaju samba na taje ngoban debi ngaba tanchawan joro hi chamba shesheba yoba yina ne seje taje go zu soju ko tuban debi shaju sent shesheba yongores ko jondere de ro ngaba tanchawan joro tene Daniela tawa sene shindu shakashin jumeshela yunrebu drubi sona dan esheji tsula yogosa tene Daniela tawa sene shindu shakayi jumeshela yunrebu druba drubi sona dan esheji tsu Iran Tenzin.
What is
Lesser. Lesser. Okay. Moved by great compassion, bodhisattvas take the vow to liberate all beings. So this is the pledge of, I will become a Buddha for the sake of all sentient beings. This is not the Rinpoche, the Shanchu, the Tambo, the Ninji Jine, Shanchu Semba Nam, Semchen Tamche Ngumpar Dumbi, the Shanchu Sembi Dumba Yomare.
Okay, the
Shanchu Sembi Dumba Yomare. Shanchu Sem. Okay, Tuche. Okay, Tuche. Bodhisattvas take the vow to liberate all beings. This is not referring to the bodhisattva vow. This is referring to the pledge that the bodhisattva makes to him or herself, saying, based on knowing about my own suffering, suffering of change, pervasive compounded suffering, and wishing that all sentient beings be free from that suffering, I want to become a Buddha so I can liberate all sentient beings. So this is just the pledge that the Bodhisattvas take the vow to liberate all sentient beings. So this is referring to that, not referring to the 18 and 46 vows. It's referring to just the pledge, the initial desire to become a Buddha for the sake of all sentient beings, this commitment to become a Buddha. Then by overcoming self-centered outlook, they engage eagerly and continuously in the very difficult practices of accumulating merit and insight. So they work on getting rid of the self-cherishing attitude, so self-centered outlook, the self-cherishing attitude, and turn it into an attitude that cherishes others, and then that makes them eager to continuously work in the very difficult practices of accumulating merit and insight. That inspires them. Having entered into this practice, they will certainly complete the collection of merit and insight, which are necessary in order to become a Buddha. One has to have the collection of merit and the collection of insight. So it's saying that by entering into this, meaning getting rid of the self-centered attitude, self-cherishing attitude, and accumulating merit and insight, they will certainly achieve the full collections. Digsun.
Yeah.
Sunandan Yeshe Tsok.
Yeah. Then Daniela Tawa Sene, Ranjin Sene,
That's so.
Shindu Shakai, and Shanju Semi, Jesse Shuba Shindu Shakashi, Jim Mechela, Yundenbo, Drubi, Sonantan, Ishijula Kuba Shavos,
Lesser.
Ishula Kubanju Gures, Sonagutuda Shitu, Sonagutusana, and Sanji Kodala, Zugutan. Choguni yodro zogo longo to choguni marba
Lessa.
longo to choguni zogoro longo to chogo ni zogoro ane ngoni go da ishi choguni chogoji zogo jokare ane chogo jokare sana sono to de zogo jore ishi go to chogo jores sono to shanchu san da tin shamba zo konwala dene Anna longodon chogodun longores zogo gures
Shanchu Je Sandan Ninji.
he shambala yab lono jebayina
Shinchunga.
anna ote longodon chogon longores
Lesser.
anna zogo guje tene chogo guje chosana da toni to be shero to marba
Lesser.
toni to be shero to eje chogodon oni gujo to
Lesser. Okay. So reading back, then by overcoming self-centered outlook, by getting rid of the self-cherishing attitude, they engage eagerly and continuously in the very difficult practices of accumulating merit and insight. Having entered into this practice, they will certainly complete the collection of merit and insight. So what is the collection of merit and insight for, and what is it? So the collection of merit is referring to practices such as bodhicitta and compassion and so forth. These practices lead to the collection of merit, which leads to the form body of the Buddha. And the form body of the Buddha is divided into two categories, the enjoyment body and the emanation body. So these two form bodies of the Buddha are created by the collection of merit. The collection of wisdom is responsible, which is referring to the wisdom realizing emptiness. So the collection of wisdoms causes the truth body to occur, the Dharmakaya to occur. And within the truth body, the Dharmakaya, there are two categories, the nature truth body and the wisdom truth body. So these two are created by this truth body, which has two, is created by the collection of exalted wisdom. So these two bodies make up the Buddha, the form body and the truth body or the Dharma body. So these two make up a Buddha. So all these collections are necessary in order for there to be a Buddha. Because if you say show the Buddha, you would say the truth body and the form body. That's the Buddha. Without one or the other, there's no Buddha. And without a collection of wisdom, collection of merit, there aren't those. So we see the necessity. Okay? Find that. So we can define these two collections, and I'm going to find the exact sometime. We can define these two collections and are qualified by them creating their respective bodies. So they are the collection which is within the lineage which gives rise to the collection which was within the lineage of that which gives rise to the form body of the Buddha is the definition of the collection of merit. And then the collection of exalted wisdom has within its definition that is within the lineage of that which gives rise to the truth body of the Buddha. So within the definition, you see these bodies qualifying them as being accurate. So if it gives rise to the form body, then we're referring to the collection of merit. If it gives rise to the truth body, then we're referring to the collection of exalted wisdom. And that's how they're defined. They're within the lineage of that which gives rise to this or that. Okay?
That's sentient samal sonja yob jusen karasna and sentient samal sonji rigi chadu yores sonji ri yosa and kangal sonji rures okay and sonji ri shosna and sentient samal eji sheba doa eji sheba da eji sheba dema maruba de sonji ri res
lesso
eji sheba dema maruba de sentient ishu bala yore hindu yore and sonji yo mares katang zole yores
lesso
Nyabala yore, Tundul yore, Yedal yore, Mali yore, Lali, Hamain, Samal, Sanjik Reed yore, Yuetan, and the Gangal Sanji Rundes.
Lesso. So we say that all sentient beings have Buddha or possess Buddha, and that has to be explained. All sentient beings, with the parentheses, possess Buddha. There's a parentheses after that says potential. So it doesn't, and as a translator's note, it doesn't mean we have a Buddha inside of us, we just need to let shine. It means that we have this potential. And what does it mean? So all sentient beings, according to Buddhism, have this Buddha potential. It's translated as Buddha nature, it's translated as Buddha lineage, it's translated as Buddha potential. But these are all referring to the same thing, which is Sanjay-rik, which is the... so what is this Buddha potential? Why is it that we say all sentient beings have Buddha? All sentient beings possess mental consciousness. All sentient beings possess a mental consciousness that is empty, that is not truly established. So these are the reasons that we say, and then there's many proofs because of this, that the potential is there. Because we have a mental consciousness, and because that mental consciousness is not fixed, it's not truly established as this or that, the potential is there. So we have this, the same ingredients that the Buddha had. The mental consciousness that's not truly established. That is the Buddha nature. That is why we say we have Buddha. Disung.
What the tended to Santang, tended about John Tona, Chutung, Ganitung, and the Sanji Tungos.
So it's very important to think about dependent origination, because if you understand dependent origination, if you see dependent origination, then you see the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha.
And the 10 days and the Karasana, Jujin to be 10 days down, Dajula to be 10 days near Roda. Jujin to be 10 days and also Susu Juli Chegado, Pamal Jebaro, julli jebro. Then I do you rara julli den jebro.
Less so.
Jella temitendes.
Less so.
Dajilla temitendes again, and Suzuki, and also combatul charge about what the shut on Lodon, Nudan, the Momijilla Dune, and the combats made Dagdo.
Less so.
And then also Mun charge about and then Nasagante, and Zudan, Soadan, the shit, Tubala Dune, Now, then this Jagados.
Less so.
Then I did the Bajuatuna, the Chutung, Ganitung.
Less so. So this dependent origination, what is this referring to? What is dependent origination when we speak of it in the context of Buddhism? There are two kinds of dependent origination. Dependent origination, which is causes and conditions, and then the dependent origination, which is dependent origination of establishment. So beginning with the dependent origination of causes and conditions. So dependent origination of causes and conditions is, for instance, we came into being because of our parents. Our parents created causes and conditions that made it so we could come into being. So this kind of dependent origination is the very simple form, which is causes and conditions come together, are necessary, and then through these causes and conditions, then this or that occurs, dependently originates. The other kind of dependent origination is dependent origination through establishment. And this is referring to the following. So here we're in a house, but the house has the north side of the house, the south side of the house, the east side of the house, the west side of the house. So there are all these components that come together and then make house. But there's not a house without all of these components, without the north, south, east. This is all these things come together, the sticks and stone, all this comes together and makes house. This comings together is dependent origination through establishment. So for instance, when we look at the I, we look at ourselves. I is not truly established. Why? The I comes into being through various aggregates. We have the form, feeling, perception, formation, consciousness. We have these 5 aggregates that come together and then make us. And then we're named as Jeff, in my instance, on this collection. So the collection itself is the dependent origination through establishment. So we have the two, dependent origination of causes and conditions, cause and effect, dependence on its cause, and the result occurs. Then the dependent origination through collection, through establishment. It's translated through establishment, through collection. I think establishment is more accurate, but you can choose.
So
when you see this, I forgot one thing. When you see this dependent origination, you see the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. How do you see the Buddha? How do you see the Dharma? How do you see the Sangha? Nene?
Dema Madruba to be Ludea, Combala Dene, and Tolan, Julan, Tolan, Gulan, Tolan, Lendu, Chugonju, Tomama, Chugonju, Tolan Jagoro, Chugonju Yudin Kanzade, Ganuganjuro. Tene, she did the Nudu Bonsona, Sanji Ganju Maribe. What the Dajin Bajuantona, Chutongo, Ganutongo, Sanji Tongos. So we so in the Sutra of the Heart of Transcendent Knowledge, there's a mantra that's embedded within it that says Teata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasangati Bodhi Soha. That is referring to the 5 pathways of practice. So when we say, if you see dependent origination, we see the Buddha, we see the Dharma, we see the Sangha. So when we look at the 5 paths, path of accumulation, path of preparation, path of seeing, once one reaches the path of seeing, at that point he or she sees the Dharma. So actually experiences the Dharma. So we can say one sees emptiness,
through understanding that things dependently originate, so they're truly not truly established. Because of dependent origination, things are empty. They're not truly established. They're not inherently existent. Through this understanding of dependent origination, we can traverse these various pathways. At the path of seeing, see the Dharma. At the path of seeing, one becomes a Sangha. One becomes an Arya, so one sees the Sangha. And then through the rest of the practices, which are just subtler versions of this understanding, one is able to get rid of the afflictive obstructions and the obstructions to omniscience, and then by getting rid of those, see the Buddha, become a Buddha. So this is how, through dependent, if you're seeing dependent origination, you see the Buddha, you see the Dharma, you see the Sangha. We see this quote, and that is the meaning of that.
I forgot that too. So I forgot one thing from before, and this made me remember it. So all sentient beings, no matter what religion they are, have this Buddha potential. And Christian does, Hindu does, all have this. But these varying religions assert different things. So for instance, the Christians assert that the God created. Does this mean there were causes and conditions, or just God? Is God the cause and condition? Or the Muslims who rely on Allah, is the same question. Are there causes and conditions outside of Allah? Is it just Allah? So these are questions that we could understand more about others through understanding. Digson. Matsukatsu, okay. The Jutsugatsu. Yeah.
Then and then we could also ask a scientist. What would a scientist say? We say these things come in through dependent origination, through this collection. What would a scientist say? Scientists are really great scholars, great intellects. So we could ask them this question as well.
So
Okay.
대유 나 타지 챵바니 자완 타지 챵바니 지 자완네 hinji kona yinbe te toma kona gomba shaos taji 챵비 자와 되고 hinji 챵바레 toma wadi hinji 챵바 로장 아버지 고레스 시제 타지 동안다 전나냐베 라니 동안다 전냐베 상는 가지고 상바 시제 참말로 동안다 전나냐베 hinji 드냐네 아버지 고레스 toma gomba shaos.
Accomplishing the accumulation of merit and insight is like having omniscience itself in your hand, in the palm of your hand. Therefore, since compassion is the only root of omniscience, you should become familiar with this practice from the very beginning. If one accumulates merit and insight, it's like having this all-knowing mind right in your hands. So it's showing that this collection of merit and insight, when fulfilled, makes you a Buddha. So you have it in your hand. Therefore, since compassion is the only root of omniscience, you should become familiar with this from the very beginning. So again, great compassion comes from, first, we recognize we want to be free from our own suffering. And then as a result of understanding our own suffering, we turn to other sentient beings and wish that they be free from their suffering. So that is the only root of omniscience. So it says you should become familiar with this from the very beginning because it's the only one. There is not another one to find. Dixon.
중된데 샤주 선배 취지로도 종신 또버 제나 네 사지 최단지 라티도 치발라서 취지의 가르쳐서나 취지부터 강시나 너다데 니지შემ으로 용합제 그래서 신종os.
The Compendium of Perfect Dharma reads, O Buddha, a bodhisattva should not train in many practices. If a bodhisattva properly holds to one dharma and learns it perfectly, he or she has all the Buddha's qualities in the palm of his or her hand. And if you ask what that one dharma is, it is great compassion. Nene?
어제 단 희지 선배 용수 선배나 희지 선배 선배이나双节中间的那么让给但普通做吧他的念讲先见级看他都别把都日本这多희지全部的约吧那那我的双节中间的是说扩马都把学过的是아두바도 조반제도 조반제바 조가르스는 니치모레스 세전 니지 시시부 여자 안노데 조반제고 아레스 제도스
그래서
아는 가서 도와jen당 가데가 준데 다진 상주 상바도 그걸로 나 그래서 다진 집으시라요로 다진 조바이나 나 상주 구몬도 바치다 타렘 차도 말로 안에 가서 잠을링 뭐 등에 잠을 제죠 도와주는데 저 가든데 저 어떤 손사 여러 상주 상바도 어떤 잠을 제용으로서 잠을 제바이나 등에 미 통야 안 주고 거야 루토뉴아 여자 안에 간주고 상바 셰셰부 용거래 현지 셰셰부 용거래 상주 생 셰셰부 대인수 상주 구몬도 뉴뉴부 용거래스
Okay, so the Buddhas have already, let me make sure I didn't miss anything. The Buddhas have already achieved all their own goals, but remain in cyclic existence for as long as there are sentient beings. So the Buddhas are already enlightened, but motivated by their great compassion that they practiced before they were Buddhas, this imprint forces them to work for sentient beings in cyclic existence, this compassion they have for everyone. It's achieved, they've already achieved their own goals, but they remain in cyclic existence for as long as there are sentient beings. And it states that cyclic existence, even for the bodhisattva, is a desired place. Even though that they could abide in the Pure Lands, in the land of great bliss, and so forth, the bodhisattvas make aspirational prayers to be born actually into our world system because they're able to experience suffering, they're able to see suffering, they're able to hear suffering, and by experiencing this, by seeing it and hearing it and so forth, this creates even stronger renunciation from their side and then makes their wish to become a Buddha even stronger. So they want to be in this in cyclic existence, and specifically within within our southern continent realm, our world system, because of the ability to practice, see suffering, hear about suffering, help others, etc. Whereas in a pure land that's blissful all the time, there is no opportunity to experience suffering, see suffering, help anyone, want to help anyone. So their enlightenment would, if they remain there, would be very, very far away. Because they wouldn't have the conditions to help inspire them. Whereas enlightenment here in our world system comes much quicker because the bodhisattva is inspired by more suffering and more need. Digson Rinpoche. The Chiwa Dan Lenja? Okay, Digson. Less so. Less so.
Tanji zine nyangan de bitunche shiwa de jaji kama bawa jindo tarin do ponyu ne jonden de ji menen bi nyangan de bi hinji ne hinji chembo de ni noza o de hinji chembo de jada ke chebure son de sar
de data yan tu chena Rinpoche The Injike, that's too.
Okay.
The Apple do.
Yeah.
Okay, so the we'll end with this stanza, but the I'll read it again. The Buddhists have already achieved all their own goals, but remain in cyclic existence for as long as there are sentient beings. This is because they possess great compassion. They also do not enter the immensely blissful abode of the nirvana like the hearers. Considering the interests of sentient beings first, they abandon the peaceful abode of nirvana as if it were a burning iron house. Therefore, great compassion alone is the unavoidable cause of the non-abiding nirvana of the Buddha. So the here and solitary realizers don't have this great compassion, so they can abide in nirvana and stay there for the sake of themselves alone, because they aren't pushed by this great compassion to help others. Whereas the Buddhas have what's called a non-abiding nirvana, meaning they are liberated, they are in nirvana, but they don't abide by themselves alone in bliss. They go and help other sentient beings. So that's why it's called non-abiding. They don't just stay there. As a note, we could debate, because they are abiding in a truth body and in an enjoyment body, so there is some abiding happening, but it's split up in bodies. So you could argue that there is relaxation going on with some of the bodies, but they are forced to emanate and help others by their great compassion until samsara is empty. Diksun. So does anyone, we have maybe, I don't know, 5 minutes or so, does anyone have any questions? Kalikasam, tired?
Yeah.
This very, very good text, right? So clear. Sheda Selpodu Becha de. Then Nyentu Dan Ranjel. Ninji Chenpo Yomare. Ninji Yure. Then Sanjay, the Kandre, the Khensur the Nyanale Depa Dedu. Then Sanjay Pegdu, then the Charan, the Teichen Lang. Less so. Then Khensur Dopagari, Gangan Sena Khensur Dewa Sheda Chembo. Then the Khensur Sanjay Tepa Chembo Yure Dain Sunsan Khensur Lang? Gari Shede Lang.
Sanjay Yalhan, Tachu Tatanyama, Sanjay. So
he's a good convincer. So I was asking Rinpoche, so the hearers and solitary realizers are in what's called an abiding nirvana. So they stay in this for many eons, in nirvana, by themselves in bliss, without suffering. So my question is that the story goes that sooner or later a Buddha goes to those beings and says, "Arise, you aren't done. You have still obstructions to omniscience. You haven't completed your pathways, and there are all these other sentient beings out there that are suffering. You need to finish your method. You need to finish your pathways." And then they go back and practice from the start to generate great compassion, and then bodhicitta and so forth. They've already got a lot of realizations, but they have to couple them with other things. So I was just trying to figure out, they're in nirvana. What does the Buddha say that makes them so inspired that they didn't do it before? They didn't want to go do it before when they weren't in nirvana and they had some kind of inspiration of suffering around them. Now they've only had bliss for eons. Why would they get up? And I guess he's just they studied his Dharma, the Buddha's Dharma, and have great faith, and the Buddha convinces them somehow, Rinpoche said. As I said, so he's a great convincer, I guess. So that's what a non-abiding nirvana is. It means that the Buddha is not just staying there. He or she is waiting to, just stay until everyone is free. Digson. Tu chena.
Oh, yeah, then do
Okay, so we'll do concluding mandala offering and dedication prayer. I've always wondered that. Like, I wouldn't get up. I wouldn't get up. I'm fine. I'm fine over here. You leave me alone. Yeah. I have a book somewhere. Somebody want to just start it? Ground is scented with incense and strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, the four continents, the sun and the moon. I imagine this as a Buddha land and offer it. May all sentient beings enjoy this pure realm. I dedicate all this collected for the benefit of the teachings and of all sentient beings, and in particular the essential teachings of Venerable Lobsang Drakpa to shine forever. Send forth this jeweled mandala to you, precious Guru. Dedicate all this virtue to emulate the knowledge of the hero Manjushri and likewise Samantabhadra as well. With whatever dedication is praised as supreme by all the conquerors who traverse the 3 times, I also dedicate all my roots of virtue for the sake of auspicious deeds. In that pure land surrounded by snowy mountains, you have all benefit and happiness. All-powerful Avalokiteshvara Tenzin Gyatso may stay until samsara's end. Pray for the long life of the precious Khensur Wandak. Uphold their scriptural and realizational doctrines. This spiritual friend who trained extensively in the 5 great philosophical texts with exceptional wisdom and perseverance. Geshe Rinpoche Gutsi Shapi Denrona.
Oh, yeah, tuju.
The Sheda Yabudu Nga Sheda Ga. The Chiran Tringadu, the Ngama, the Chutsu Jenda, the